Can a solo pilot actually survive the new 4.7 armor changes in Star Citizen, or is the gunship title a lie without a full crew? Today we're testing everything from the solo-friendly Freelancer MIS to the absolute beast that is the Hammerhead, to see what's actually worth your aUEC in the current meta. Gunships are the toughest, most firepower dense ships in Star Citizen. Layers of armor, turrets everywhere, and HP pools that make fighters feel like tissue paper. But 4.7 flipped the damage model on its head. Deflection numbers on your hull now matter more than ever. So let's break down every gunship in the game currently purchasable with aUEC, what changed, and critically, which ones you can actually fly solo without feeling like you're wasting half the ship. Starting with the MISC Freelancer MIS, which can be picked up for $175 online or 4.7 million aUEC from Lowell on Hurston. Once the 3 size 2 shields drop, the MIS has 19,800 armor hit points with 63 physical and 67 energy reflection, meaning that any weapons of those types with less max alpha damage than that will simply bounce off your hull and do 0 damage. The hull has 25,000 overall hit points and takes 15% less physical damage overall, though energy weapons hit it 50% harder, so keep that in mind against laser heavy enemies in 4.7. Handling wise, it's genuinely surprising. 35 pitch, 31 yaw, and 107 degrees per second roll rate make it the most maneuverable gunship on this list. Slow in a straight line at 204 SCM, yes, but it can actually turn and fight. Also has a NAV speed of 1000 meters per second. The Freelancer MIS has 4 pilot-controlled size 3 weapons, dual size 3 turrets, and 28 size 3 missiles, which make it a legitimate missile boat. I give it a solo rating of 7 out of 10. The Freelancer MIS is the gold standard for solo gunship pilots. You're using nearly all of its offensive potential from the cockpit, and the maneuverability means you can actually dodge when things get hairy. The MIS is the king of solo missile spam, but if you want to trade those size 3s for size 9 torpedoes that can one-shot a capital ship, you have to step up to the Aegis Retaliator. Also nicknamed the Tully, this gunship is more known for its ability to carry 6 size 9 torpedoes than anything else, though it is incredibly strong and durable with a crew. Before we get into the numbers, you can purchase the Retaliator for $175 online or 7.5 million aUEC from Lowell on Hurston. Note that the front and rear models, whether you pick cargo or torp mods, will set you back a further 1.5 million. The Tally has a whopping 6 size 2 shield generators, though it only has 2 power plants of the same size, so energy management can get tricky to get the most out of them. It has 17,325 hull armor with 77 physical and 62 energy damage reduction. The Retaliator takes 19% less physical but 21% more energy damage and has a massive HP pool of 138,981, so smaller ships will have a tough time chewing through this hull. It has a very sleek design for a gunship, clocking in at 205 SCM and 1,100 meters per second nav speed. In terms of handling, it's pretty terrible in atmosphere especially, with a pitch of 25, yaw of 23 and roll of 55 degrees per second. I personally charge, unload torps and zoom past for the most part, as that's usually all it takes to down even the biggest bounty targets. The pilot only controls the torpedoes, though if you went with cargo modules you can't fire anything. But with 5 dual size 3 turrets for the crew, a fully manned Retaliator becomes a genuinely terrifying gunship on top of the torpedo runs. I'd give the Tally a solo rating of 6 out of 10. Flying solo means you're running a torpedo boat with no turret coverage. While viable for specific bounty scenarios, the Retaliator wants a crew to reach its ceiling. But if you want a gunship you can actually solo, one that's been in the game since the very beginning and still holds up, the RSI Constellation Andromeda is your answer. The only multi-role gunship on the list, and definitely one of the favorite big ships for solo players. This was the very first big fancy ship of Star Citizen all the way back in January of 2014 when I started playing, and can be purchased for $240 online or 9.6 million aUEC in-game from Lowville, Hurston. It can also be rented from New Babbage or Lowville if you want to test the waters first. The Andromeda only has one size 3 shield though, with 18,900 hull armor and impressive total HP pool of 180,644. Its hull has 77 physical and 62 energy deflection. It also takes 19% less physical but 28% more energy damage. So it's currently not really in a great state versus energy weapons in terms of durability in 4.7. Handling is also not great, as is expected with a gunship of this size. With a pitch of 25, yaw of 21 and roll rate of 45 degrees per second, you'll have to use your boosts and VTOLs wisely to push that maneuverability to the max. It's still a good solo gunship though, since it has 4 pilot controlled size 5 weapons, 28 size 1 and 24 size 2 missiles. Add 2 crew members and you'll get a dual size 3 turret each. It punches way above its weight for a lone wolf, which is why I'd give it a solo rating of 8 out of 10. The Andromeda is the perfect gunship for solo players, but if you've got even 1 or 2 friends to bring along, the Aegis Redeemer turns that small crew into something incredibly dangerous. The Redeemer is the brawler of this list, fast, agile for its class, and devastating with the crew. It'll cost you $330 online or 9.8 million aUEC from Lowville on Hurston. Like the Retaliator, the Redeemer has 6 size 2 shields, but 2 size 3 power plants instead of the 2 of the Tally. The trade-off is total HP. 66,700 is noticeably lower than the Tally's pool, so you're playing a bit more aggressive, get in get out style rather than tanking. It's not nearly as tough, but has slightly higher hull armor at 19,800. It takes 19% less physical damage and deflects 77, but also takes 21% more damage from energy weapons while deflecting only 62. But what does make the Redeemer better than the Retaliator are the turrets and maneuverability. You see, with a pitch of 36, yaw of 30 and roll of 115 degrees per second, it's much more agile. Though this one definitely requires a crew, because the pilot only has 2 size 4 and size 3 weapons, as well as 16 size 2 missiles, whereas it can be crewed by 2 turret gunners each with dual size 4, and an extra dual size 3 turret increasing its firepower by a significant amount. The Redeemer gets a solo rating of only 5 out of 10. Sure, you can solo it, but you'll feel the missing turret coverage every fight. With even 1 gunner, the ship transforms. It's the best in class for small 2 to 3 person crews. The Redeemer is a maneuverable brawler, but if you're willing to trade that agility for the most unique weapons platform in the game right now, the new Anvil Paladin might be your new favorite. Paladin is one of the newer gunships in Star Citizen, and it's a chunky, purposeful beast designed specifically around small crew play. Grab it for $350 online or 15.8 million aUEC from Area 18 on ARCorp. With 17,325 hull armor and 149,819 total hit points overall, it deflects 92 and takes 19% reduced physical damage, though it only deflects 49 while taking 15% more damage from energy weapons. It also has only 1 size 3 shield and is the slowest ship here by SCM at 175. NAV speed of 950. Handling is also rather limited with a 23 pitch, 19 yaw and roll rate of 45 degrees per second. This is definitely not a ship you fly aggressively. The turrets are where it shines though. It has 2 turrets that carry dual size 4 weapons, plus a third which runs on a rail carrying 4 size 5 weapons running from top to bottom at the press of a button. It's one of the coolest mechanics in the game right now. It also has 8 size 3 and 2 size 4 missiles, so it punches hard as hell with skilled gunners. The Paladin to be worth flying. Solo, you're moving slow with weak pilot weapons and the rail turret sitting idle. With 2 crew members, it becomes a completely different machine. But if you want a gunship that doubles as a flying home base and hits like a freight train with a full squad, the Starlancer TAC is in a league of its own. My personal favorite gunship apart from the massive Perseus is the Starlancer TAC, which can be purchased for $375 online or 13.3 million AUEC from Area 18 and Lorville on Arcorp and Hurston respectively. You can also earn one through Weeklo in-game if you'd rather do that. Even though it makes a great solo space home due to having medical beds, enough space for a vehicle as well as a top hanger for a snub fighter, you're much better off with a crew. With Star Citizen's new patch 4.7, the Starlancer TAC is better than ever. Even though it only has 2 size 3 shields, you'll not only have a hull with 116,600 total hit points, but 22,688 armor to penetrate first should those drop. While it takes 15% less physical and 15% more energy damage, it also deflects 99 and 106 respectively, making it the most balanced defensive profile on this list. When it comes to speed, it's a snail. With only 150 SCM and 960 meters per second nav speed, there's no running away in this one. It has a roll rate of 60 degrees per second and pitch and yaw of 27, actually making it more maneuverable than the Anvil Paladin. The pilot controls 4 size 4 guns, which is a serious weapons loadout. Crew access includes 2 dual size 4 remote turrets and 2 dual size 5 manned turrets. The TAC is also the only ship in the game with rear firing missile racks, a unique defensive tool that changes how you approach being tailed. I give the Starlancer TAC a solo rating of 6 out of 10 because of the medical bed, cargo space and 4 pilot controlled S4 weapons, but it shines brightest with the crew, that's for sure. Though if you want the undisputed king, if you can find enough crew to fill every seat, nothing in the game comes close to the Aegis Hammerhead. This is the big one. The Hammerhead is in a completely different weight class from everything else on this list. Bigger, tougher, more expensive, and frankly terrifying when fully crewed. You can pick it up for $725 online or 45.5 million AUEC from Lorville on Hurston. With an HP pool of 295,600 and 32,175 hull armor that reflects 152 physical and 101 energy damage, it's by far the toughest of the bunch. It also takes 19% less physical damage, but 21% more from energy weapons. Most fighters in the game cannot put out enough alpha damage per shot to even register on this hull. Needless to say, it moves at the speed of a hippo with 3 legs. With only 160 SCM and 950 meters per second nav speed. Still, slightly faster than the Starlancer TAC, which makes no sense, but okay. Maneuverability is its downside, which is expected for a ship of this size, having a pitch and yaw of 20 and roll rate of 30 degrees per second. Even though the pilot has 32 size 3 missiles at his disposal, it's definitely not a solo ship. Turrets are where the Aegis Hammerhead shines. 6 turrets placed all around the hull, each carrying quad size 4 weapons. That's 24 size 4 guns firing simultaneously. No fighter in the game wants to be inside that cone of fire. A fully crewed Hammerhead doesn't just win fights, it ends them. The pilot-controlled missiles are the only reason I give this a solo rating of 2 out of 10. Don't solo the Hammerhead. Just don't. You're flying a 45.5 million Alpha USC ship with 5 empty turrets. Find a crew. And finally, there's the RSI Perseus that's currently only purchasable for $800 during sales and not earnable in-game yet. So we're leaving it for a different video at a later date. It is awesome though, so I'll give it that. So which gunship actually wins in 4.7? The Hammerhead is the undisputed champion if you have the crew to man it. Nothing else on this list compares when it's fully operational. For solo players, Freelancer MIS and Constellation Andromeda are still doing the heavy lifting, with the Starlancer TAC as a wildcard for pilots who want durability and flexibility over raw speed. But gunships are only half the story. If you want to see how these ships hold up against dedicated stealth bombers and interdictors in the current meta, I broke that down in full in these 2 videos right here. Go check it out. Drop your favorite gunship in the comments, and if your pick didn't make the list, tell me why it should.